And it's just going to be us today. So, we'll have some thrilling conversations about all things China. And of course, the big story this week has been...
You're finally back?
Yes, I am back. I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
But...
I thought that's where you were going.
No.
That's the big story for me, Chris.
That's the big story for me, too.
Yeah, what was it like hosting the shows for about 2 weeks between the two of you guys?
Exhausting?
Yeah, it was actually really hard.
Exhausting, I think is the word.
So does that mean you guys are no longer going to try to undermine and overthrow me?
Yeah, my 7-year plan to undermine you, that's totally out the window now.
I never tried to undermine or overthrow you.
Oh, you knew.
Oh, about what?
That it's a lot of work to
host. Yeah. No, I have no illusions about that. The last episode I recorded, because of where the camera was, the stool had to be really high since I'm much shorter than you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to record this episode as I'm slowly falling off the front of the stool.
Oh, gosh.
That was fun.
Yes, despite what you may see right now that Shelly and I are kind of a similar height, that's just magic. My chair is so much lower. Also, I have a short torso. My height is mostly in my legs. It makes squats difficult, but deadlifts easy.
Interesting.
So, China news.
Yes, the big news this week. I bought Twitter.
Okay.
Yep.
You, with Elon Musk as your front man, bought Twitter.
Well, have you ever seen the two of us in the same room at the same time?
No, I have to say I have never seen the two of you in the same. Yeah.
Who knows what that could mean? That's all I'm saying.
That we're not famous enough to hang out with Elon Musk?
Yeah, that's probably it. Yes, Elon Musk has bought Twitter. Do you think that will make it more or less of a dumpster fire?
I feel like there's no way, but it's such a dumpster fire.
At least in the short term, it has become more of a dumpster fire. Twitter has been awful this week.
It's Twitter's been going downhill for a little while. And I think...
years.
Yeah, but this is the second big shift. There was a big shift after Donald Trump was kicked off, and a lot of people in that camp left Twitter.
No, there's a big shift. This is the fifth big shift.
Okay, but then
Shelley is the Twitter expert.
This is people now on the other side. They're like, oh, I'm going to leave Twitter now that Elon Musk is, because people think
Are they going to? Because that's I feel like it's kind of the whole, people are going to move to Canada if Donald Trump won.
Uh-huh.
Didn't Miley Cyrus say that? Did she ever move to Canada?
I don't know if anybody who said they wanted to move to Canada moved to Canada.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear about any Canadian border crisis, at least. But I remember back in the day, Twitter was you could have nice conversations with people. You know what I mean?
This must have been before I was on Twitter.
Yeah, you could have, you felt like it was a collegiate, especially because I was doing mostly China watcher Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I felt like it was really friendly. And you could, connect with people and make...
who had similar interests.
Yeah, and then you could both make fun of Xi Jinping together and all this stuff. And it was nice. And then it just started to factionalize everything else.
The echo chamber.
Everything else on Twitter. The people started to get mad at each other for different things. And then, people would have long Twitter rants about other people. And then people started subtweeting other people. And it just became so terrible that I was like, I can't really be on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, it's if you have a difference of opinion, it's because the other person must be evil at this point.
It's why do we think that it's okay to have a conversation in a certain way on Twitter that we would never have with other human beings face to face?
You're right. I need to make my everyday conversations more like Twitter.
That's not what I meant.
Well, Matt, if that's not what you meant, you should set it more clearly.
Yeah, Matt, you far-right fascist, racist piece of garbage. Blocked.
No, Matt, on Twitter, you only can cry on the inside. No. Yeah, it's just, it's so... I basically also noticed myself getting angrier being on Twitter. Did you notice this? That where you kind of react...
Oh, Shelley. I'm always angry.
Oh, yes. There you go. But yeah, you kind of react, or it basically encourages you to be especially snarky or something like that, to have an attitude, that's what gets likes and that kind of stuff.
That's the thing about the internet. I feel like, as promised as like, hey, you can communicate with anyone, anywhere in the world. It'll bring humanity together, blah, blah, blah. Really, it just seems to make us all worse. Except for me.
It was so bad. Now I mostly just retweet other people because I'm like, well, I got to be on Twitter to find some things, right? To see some news.
Yeah. Well, it's been very valuable. Like, for example, with the recent lockdown in Shanghai, like a lot of footage from what's going on inside of China, like you can get it on Twitter.
Yeah, because I am not installing WeChat on my phone.
No.
But yeah, so there's advantages to it, but I think if you spend too long on it, it basically makes your life so much worse.
In a way, it's like a gremlin. It's nice and cuddly and cute at first, but then you start to feed it too much. It gets wet, and then it becomes a horrible monster that just keeps expanding. I just watched Gremlins 2 for the first time recently, so it's on my mind.
Okay.
Fantastic movie.
I've never watched any of the
10
Gremlins
out of
movies.
10.
Yeah,
Cannot recommend it enough.
Okay. Yeah. That's what you did when you were on your time off, right?
I watched Gremlins 2,
Yeah.
and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Well, so do you think Elon Musk will make it better? Like, I kind of see, like, there's basically two camps, like people who are like, oh, yeah, Elon Musk is going to, make it a free speech platform again, or people saying, like, oh, this is, racist white power, alt-right, blah,
of
blah,
course,
blah, blah.
those are the only two answers.
Yeah, it seems that way. But it seems to me like we have no idea how he's going to operate.
He hasn't
Twitter.
even bought it yet, technically. Like, it hasn't happened. It's going to take months.
And it's like everyone has such a strong opinion when it's like, really, like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Who knows what it'll be like.
The internet doesn't like to wait and see. The internet likes to jump to
react
conclusions.
immediately. Yeah, exactly
They're
what
all a
Twitter
bunch
is
of reactionaries.
for. Yeah, I remember, for example, when that video of what was that Catholic school?
Covington Catholic.
Yes. Like that video was on Twitter, and there's somebody I follow who's a China journalist retweeted it and was like, this is outrageous. And I was going to retweet it. And then I was like, wait a minute. So I stopped myself and I was like, I actually don't know what's going on in this video. It starts in the middle. And I just didn't do anything about it. And then later I was like, oh, well, I mean.
It ended up being something much different.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's even some of the Shanghai videos that were coming out, there were a couple where I put something in the, like one of our episodes because I was like, oh, I think this has been validated. Like I saw it in several different sources, but a lot of these videos, you can't find the original context. So you kind of have to like try to find as many people confirming that this is the original context as possible. And in a couple of those cases, it was not true.
Like there was the one where someone was like, this is footage of people in Shanghai committing suicide under lockdown. It's like a bunch of clips of people jumping off buildings. And it was just a collection of suicide videos. It had nothing to do with the Shanghai lockdown. First
of all, it's a little disturbing that someone has collected a collection of suicide videos of people,
What do you do in your free time?
Not that, apparently.
Oh.
But yeah, or there was a video I found of somebody just losing it and kind of calmly smashing every single window of the security guards, like little booth outside his apartment building because they wouldn't let him in. And it turned out to not be from Shanghai. It was from another city. And so it was just like, you think this is what you're seeing, but you can't necessarily be 100% sure this is what the context is. It's a little tricky.
Yeah. And it's going to be crazy, like 5 to 10 years from now when the technology to do deep fakes is extremely user-friendly. Like you can already do deep fakes that are very convincing. But, and like there's apps that have, kind of like funny deep fake things you can use to like make, I saw this video, like Xi Jinping singing like a pop song. But like you can tell it's fake.
At some point, people on Twitter kept sending me, a lot of Indians on Twitter kept sending me deep fakes of Xi Jinping's face on like attractive Bollywood dancer girls in movies. Like they would just put Xi Jinping's face on all of the dancers.
But like so the people who are doing this are not like technically skilled people necessarily. There's software that allows you to do that,
Yes.
right? So imagine 5 to 10 years from now, it's like 2030, and there are apps that make basically any type of deep fake extremely easy. And then there's going to be like no way to validate anything. And then people are going to call on Twitter to try to verify whether videos are real.
Do you think Twitter's going to be around in 2040 or whatever?
I said 2030.
Oh.
I don't know. Right? I mean,
well, the Biden administration is starting a new campaign against misinformation, completely unrelated to anything else that is happening on the internet right now.
Yeah, it's hard to say what the future of social media is going to be, because remember how quickly MySpace lost everything.
Oh, sorry, what?
MySpace?
Friendster.
Yeah, top 8 spaces.
I never got past LiveJournal.
Got it. Well, so like the point is, and if Elon Musk loses Twitter, like it's only $40 billion. Like he's worth over $270 billion. So it's not like that big a deal to him. But the internet is going to be an increasingly challenging place to operate if people are still on their worst behavior. And I feel like the onus has to be on us to be on our best behavior, or even if not our best behavior, just like a normal human behavior.
Our best behavior.
Am I too idealistic to say that?
Pick up on that.
No.
Like, can't we just treat each other as people? And like, if you say something mean in the heat of passion, like apologize. Like, just like, why can't I don't know how the internet works, do I?
No. Well, if it makes you feel better, Matt, probably by the time 2030 rolls around, the global famine caused by the food shortages from the Russia-Ukraine war will have wiped out most of the population, and we'll be more concerned about fighting off the cannibal tribes than arguing on Twitter.
Well, they're not going to be cannibal tribes because there's going to be plenty of bugs to eat.
I really don't like where this is going.
And we've also
the conversation or human history?
The conversation.
Well, you should be concerned about human history because it's not looking good.
Well, okay.
I see a bright future for humanity. Just that's my perspective.
On Elon Musk's Mars base.
No, just I feel like at some point people are going to be like, wow, all the social media stuff and a bunch of other things are kind of turning us rotten, and let's just go back to being good to each other again.
But how will we dismantle systems of oppression?
Okay, I'm done.